Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here. What's wrong with my camera? Hold on. I'm not center. Hopefully the camera does not go off. Yeah, I didn't think I was center there. Hello everyone. Hello. How are you all doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good week and you're ready for the weekend, but we're not just there just quite yet. Genie Bottle, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Questionnaire today in the live chat is: should the international community be doing more for Sudan? Pretty simple yes or no answer. I think everybody will agree that more needs to be done. We will come to Sudan shortly, guys. So I've got a lot to cover tonight, so I want to dive straight into it. And we're going to start with the Iranian elections. Yeah, a bit of an interesting one here, but I wanted to have a look at this one. So let's dive straight into it, guys. So this one from Al Jazeera: Iranians vote in legislated key assembly polls amid economic concerns. Conservative and hardline candidates are expected to win a majority. A survey indicates a low voter turnout. I wonder why there's not going to be much of a voter turnout. Probably because of the kind of nation that it is. It is an interesting one to say the least. Like we said I said at the start of the year, like how many elections that are taking place across the world. There's so many elections taking place. It's really quite fascinating to say the least. But I think what I'll do is I'll share my thoughts as I go along. I have read some of it, but I'll probably get my thoughts more together as we go along on this one. So Iranians are voting for a new parliament in an election marred by frustration over economic woes and restrictions on political and social freedoms. The election on Friday, that's today, is the first formal measure of public opinion since anti-government protests in 2022-2023 spiraled in some of the worst political turmoil since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Iranian officials and even the supreme leader, should I try and say that name or should I let Google Translate do it for me? I'm going to let Google Translate do it for me.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
Okay. I'll let Google Translate say that. Urged the public to cast ballots, but polling stations in the country's capital, Tehran, appeared to have few voters. Why so few voters? I guess they're a bit more concerned about maybe because they just don't I don't know, they don't trust their supreme leader, or they just don't want any involvement in politics, I suppose. Number 3, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Authorities have largely barred politicians from calling for any change within the country's theocracy, known broadly as reformists, from running in the election, leaving mostly only a broad state of conservative and hardline figures. That's definitely democratic. Definitely democratic. Of course it's not. Iran's economy continues to stagnate under Western sanctions over Tehran's rapid advancing nuclear programs and the country's arming of militia proxies in the Middle East and Russia in its war on Ukraine. Summer Friday voters acknowledges the challenges facing Iran. There are many problems, too many problems, said one voter, who only gave her last name Sajib. We are sad, we are sorrowful, we voice our criticism as much as we can. God willing, those responsible will start thinking about us, and probably many of them do care. And there's one voter there who's casted his vote. Kamariti 84 cast one of the first votes in the election and will also pick new members of the country's assembly of experts. The panel of clerics who serve an 8-year term is mandated to select a new supreme leader if Khamenei steps down or dies, underscoring its increased importance given Khamenei's age. Around 15,000 candidates are vying for seats in the 290-member parliament, formerly known as the Islamic Consultative Assembly. Out of them, only 116 are considered to be relatively moderate or pro-reform candidates. Those demanding radical change are banned and did not bother to register given widespread disqualification by authorities. Experts expect a low turnout, with official surveys suggesting that only about 41% of eligible Iranians would vote. So a very, very low turnout. And turnout hit a record low of 42.5% in the 2020 parliamentary election, while about 62% of voters participated in 2016. Yeah, it's not very good. Hello, Matt. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Iranians also voted on the 88 member of experts, which are also there. There are 144 contenders, all senior members of the country's powerful clergy. The election of the assembly could prove crucial because it may determine the future direction of Iran. according to Sina Toski, a senior non-resident fellow at the Center for International Policy. The Assembly of Experts is a body that appoints and supervises the Supreme Leader, who has the final say on all major political, religious and security matters, he told Al Jazeera, pointing out that Kamagadi had been in power since 1989. It's just not too far off from me being born then. Kevin, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. There are widespread speculation that he may not live to see the end of next Assembly's 8-year term, which could mean that the members elected on Friday could have the responsibility of choosing his successor, Tossi had said. So this is Iranians filling out their ballots before casting their votes. Roxy, oh, did we just have an internet dropout? 1 second, guys. I just noticed a dropout. Looks like the connection's just fine there. Okay. Just double checking connection there. It looks like we had just a blip of a dropout. Hopefully I'm still here. Roxy Famafisum, a professor of international relations and modern Middle East politics at the University of Cambridge, said that if the predictions for a low turnout are confirmed, it would be due to the combination of economic woes and a feeling among the population that are not part of the political momentum. There is a great deal of despondency involved, Roxana told Al Jazeera, arguing that it had become very clear that the Iranian leadership does not really care whether the population is voting. Well, if you want, I'm sure there was a little. I think it's okay now. I'll just check again. Yes, it says it's excellent connection now. Oh no, not again. What's going on? Why do I keep dropping out? Keep dropping out here. It says excellent connection. Sorry about this, guys. Hopefully it stops. I really hope it stops. It says excellent connection. It's OBS keeps disconnecting, reconnecting. I don't know what it is. I do apologise. Hopefully it will stop. Yeah, I'm going to try and keep truck on because there's quite a lot to cover. I don't see it as an implementation of their own legitimacy, she added. Adine Tabarabi, an Iranian affair analysis and chief executive of Kaipo, a think tank focused on the Middle East, said one of the reasons some people feel their vote will not make a difference is a lack of representation to address their complaints. They certainly have primarily to do with economic issues, but they are obviously cultural, social and political grievances where we see a lack of candidates that would be in credible fashion embodying the grievances that people have, he told Al Jazeera. Therefore, we are seeing a disengagement from those who are not statistically filled with the current state of affairs, Tabashki said. Polling places will be open until 9:30 p.m. local time, 6:30 GMT, after authorities extended the voting by 2 hours. Initial election results are expected as early Saturday, so probably by most of this time, most people will know. I think it's interesting to say the least. Obviously, we don't have little to know much information about Iranian politics. I think we can all agree that our knowledge, and even myself, is pretty lackluster. But I still think it's a fascinating one to say the least. Hopefully, because of the country and because of the history and obviously and whatnot, guys, it's obviously a country that many people obviously we know how the West and whatnot and the atrocities that have occurred and their support for Russia. It's just it's not very good for them, if I'm honest. But it's not like the people really have much of a say and can do much influence really there. And it just feels like it's a parliament just going to be backed up by the same kind of people, the same right wing of sorts, and not really going to have much of a change really. I think it's too much. It's not really going to be too much of a changing really at the moment. But I suppose when the Supreme Leader does die, it'll be interesting to see how the future holds, what the future holds for the country as a whole. So that would be interesting to say the least. Just so you guys there's a poll up there for those who've just come in, is asking whether the international community should be doing more for Sudan. Yes or no? Very simple question. I don't think anyone's expected to vote any differently otherwise. Right, let's jump straight into the next one, guys, because we are going to be talking about Sudan. Jao, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Let me make sure this is definitely the right one. This better be the right one. Yeah, I hope so. Alright, so this one is from Middle Eastern Eye, guys. Sudan's forgotten masses are dying every day of starvation. At least 25 million Sudanese are suffering from hunger or malnutrition as children die of starvation, and the war continues to decimate the country. So we talk a lot about, we've been talking a lot about what's happening in Gaza and the horrors that are occurring there, guys. Where is the rest of the world here? Nowhere to be seen. There is nowhere to be seen, the world here. Yeah, we have literally just there in the headline, as children die of starvation. 20 million Sudanese suffering from hunger and malnutrition. Where is the cry? Where is the outrage? Where is the international community? Where is everyone? Why is nobody talking about this? And it's because it's not related to Iraq. It's nothing to do with in Europe. Nobody seems to care. And I've talked about Sudan in the past. I've talked about Sudan quite a bit in the early days when I was starting up this YouTube channel, because it was roughly around, I think, a month or two after I started my channel was when the war kicked off in Sudan. And it really angers me that it's still happening, and kind of like nobody's like paying attention to it. You don't hear much or little, if any, from mainstream media about what's happening here, and it's horrible. It's a horrible situation, and I really do. My heart really does bleed, yeah, for the people. And this conflict did not need to happen. It did not need to happen, and we know it didn't need to happen. And I generally think that if the international community had stepped in, this could have been stopped. I generally think so. If more could have been done to stop the what's happening here. I really, really do. But because it's not, because of where it's placed geography, the world's kind of like, meh, not too fussed sort of thing. And that's how it's, and it's just not right. It's just not right for the people there, guys. Apologies if the text is a bit small, but hopefully you guys can still read it. So more than 10 months into Sudan's war, local sources across the country have told Middle Eastern Eye that the people are dying of starvation every day. The humanitarian situation is dire, with the Sudanese armed forces, the SAF, and its enemies, the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, paramilitary, accusing each other of obstructing aid deliveries and cutting access to the internet. Alistair Keir, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. At the end of January, the International Organization for Migration, the IOM, reported that 10.7 million people have been displaced by the conflicts in Sudan, 9 million of them inside the country. This would leave Sudan with the highest rate of internal displacement in the world, surpassing even Syria's 7.2 million. I did a story on Rumble, I think it was either this week or last week, about Sudanese family trying to make the traverse from its country all the way to Egypt, just to make it to Egypt, and the perilous journey that they had to make. And it was very, very difficult. And as of right now, they're living although they have accommodation in Egypt, in Cairo specifically. If they're caught by authorities, they'll get sent back to the country, because Egypt are already struggling with the influx of migration, obviously from people coming up from other countries in Africa, looking to obviously cross over into Europe, but also those obviously coming across from from Gaza as well. So they're on the forefront of taking a lot of this brunt. Shmyhal, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. At the end of January, the International Organization... Oh, sorry, I've read that already. Apologies. The needs for the population dwarf the available funding. United Nations agencies for Sudan's requires 2.7 billion of assistance this year. So far, less than 4% of that has been provided by donors. Just 43% of last year's plan was funded, and multiple sources have told MEE that Sudan struggles to gain international attention in comparison to conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. Yeah, that's the problem. They don't seem to... It's not seems to be a fault, really, whatsoever. On the ground, malnutrition is killing children. A raft of diseases, including cloaca. There are now more than 10,000 suspected cases in Sudan that have broken out. 10,000. Doctors, hospitals, and emergency room activists providing aid in local neighborhoods have been attacked. The harvest season has failed. The army-aligned government is facing bankruptcy and has failed to provide proper humanitarian support, while the RSF has been accused of preventing aid from reaching the areas it controls. The UN's World Food Programme said at least 25 million people are struggling with soaring rates of hunger and malnutrition, and that 3.8 million children under the age of 5 are malnourished. Children are dying every day. every day, guys. Multiple sources across Sudan told MEE that children are dying every day of hunger. 3 members of the nationwide network of mutual aid groups known as Emergency Response Rooms (ERRs) told Middle East Eye that in the capital, Khartoum, people are dying silently in their homes because of hunger. In southern Khartoum's Kalalan neighborhood, one emergency room activist said, "We found 3 people who had died of hunger inside their homes. Their neighbors buried them silently. It seems they had no food, no money, and were afraid to go outside because of the continuous shelling." Other emergency room members told MEE the same thing was happening in Otomum, Khartoum's twin city and the site of recent army offensive. A doctor in Kalasar state, eastern Sudan, said many children were dying of malnutrition. Children in the remote area of Talatuk, Alaviga and other villages are dying of malnutrition, the doctor told MEE. When some of them arrived in Kalska hospital, they were seriously malnutritioned and we failed to save their lives. The situation is perhaps worse in Darfur, the vast western region that serves as RSF power base. There, Sudanese displaced by decades of fighting and living internally displaced people, IDP camps facing famine, malnutrition and much more. Aid organisations Mediate Sans Frontières, the MSF, had estimated that in Zamzam, a camp in North Darfur, 1 child is dying every 2 hours and there are around 13 dying every day. I know this is hard to listen to, guys, but this is important. What we are seeing in Zamzam camp is absolutely catastrophic situation. We estimate that at least 1 child is dying every 2 hours in the camp, says Claire Notel, head of the MSF's emergency response in Sudan. Those with severe malnutrition who have not yet died are at high risk of dying within 3 to 6 weeks if they do not get treatment. Their condition is treatable if they can get to a healthy facility, but many cannot. Adam Rochel, a spokesperson for those living in the IDP camps, said that children, pregnant women and the elderly were dying every day in camps across the region. We live in catastrophic and unprecedented humanitarian conditions imposed on us by both parties in the conflict as tens of children, pregnant women and elderly IDPs are dying daily due to their acute malnutrition, lack of food, medicine and drinking water. The health situation in Darfur, especially in the refugee camps, is disastrous, pointing out that children have no access to food, medicine or shelter. Almost 25 million... Oh god, I just had a cut again. 1 second. Apologies. Okay, it's come back again. I don't know what's causing the cuts, guys. I do apologise if it does cut out. Addressing a press conference in Port Sudan on Thursday, Imran warned that the harvest season had failed in different states because of the insecurity brought on by the West. We know that our people are suffering from high prices and lack of commodities, but we have to be patient and work together to end the war by the victory of our army. I think all these problems will be solved, Imran said. Sudanese organisations Farika for Studies and Development has reported that Sudan's domestic food production has dropped significantly because of the war. Yeah, because everything's being destroyed. Because it's 2 stupid bloody generals when democracy was looked like some kind of civilian government was going to be formed. These 2 greedy bastards decide to start a war again. Both the generals on both sides of this, and this is why. And no one's done enough. Ignore the crying cat. Don't worry about Jasper if you do hear him. He's fine. Only 30% of Sudan's agricultural land has been cultivated in comparison to previous years. Also, Sudan's national wheat production is reduced by 70%, the organisation said in a press release. Blame game. Both sides are blamed for this. Amid this turmoil, the 2 warring parties have traded accusations over who is responsible. Both of them are. They should both be tried. Both generals should be tried for what they're doing here. It's no care whatsoever about the civilian population. Only cared about gaining control of this country. Both sides, in my opinion. The army has accused the RSF of cutting off the country's access to the internet, while the RSF has accused the army of blocking the flow of aid into Darfur. Many more allegations have been made as each side continues to win the information war that's been raging since the fighting began on 15th of April last year. The army-aligned foreign ministry has denied blocking aid coming into Darfur from Chad, saying that this is one of the main routes for military supplies to the RSF. Middle East Eye has previously reported that on the RSF supply lines which ran into Darfur from Chad and the Central African Republic, often organised by the United Arab Emirates. In June last year, local witnesses told ME that the RSF was behind the looting of WFP warehouses in El Obeid. Markets named after parliamentary leader Mohamed Hamid Drogo has sprung up across Sudan selling looted goods. The RSF did not loot humanitarian aid warehouses under the area of our protection, as relief aid did not reach those facilities in the first place, the Rapid Support Forces said in a statement. Additionally, our forces are committed to protecting and delivering humanitarian aid to civilians in all areas, as per permanent orders issued to them by the RSF leadership in this regard. I do think that I think maybe it's getting the point of getting the United. I don't know if maybe getting the United Nations involved, and perhaps having them escort the aid to where it needs to be, instead of trying to put some trust and aid into either sides, because neither sides have been given any trust into this whatsoever. Sudan has been under internet blackout for more than a month, prompting thousands of people to use Elon Musk's Starlink satellite internet to communicate and use banking apps. Trying to gather further information in support in Sudan's darkest hour, Africa for Studies and Development has launched a global call for the announcement of famine in Sudan by aid agencies. The humanitarian situation in Sudan, especially in Khartoum, has sharply deteriorated after the cut of telecommunications. The mass kitchens operated by the emergency rooms have stopped their work due to the lack of groceries, the organisation has said. It seems that the international community has lost its interest in helping Sudan, so at this moment let's raise our voices to say that the Sudanese are not dying because of bullets, but rather they are dying of hunger and disease. Where is the rest of the world? Where is the goddamn international community? Yeah, we're also concerned about what's happening in Ukraine. We're also concerned about what's happening in Gaza. Where the hell is the rest of the world when it comes to what's happening here? They're nowhere. Nowhere to be bloody seen. Nowhere to be bloody seen. 25 million people are suffering. Children's dying every day. We keep talking about the devastation that's happening in Gaza. Where is the same? Where is the same here? Just because it's on a different continent, just because of where it is geography, we don't talk about it. It's disgusting, it's pathetic from the international community. It really, really is. Yeah, these are human beings just like those who are suffering in those who are suffering in Gaza. They really are. They're just as much as human beings, and they should have the same fundamental rights as everybody else. And I really am at this point where both sides don't give an absolute shit about the people at all, and just lusting for power. And the international community just doesn't care. They really don't care, and it makes me sick to my stomach, guys. It really, really does. Alistair Keir, thank you so much for the 5 gifted membership. I really appreciate it. To Chatty Rat, Joe Lefty Boater, 91 Lees, and Ben Shaw and Mark Lease 98. Thank you for gifting membership. Appreciate it. You go to the Circle of Doom for a moment, says Jal. In news today, obesity in UK and other countries while others starve is crazy. Yeah. Homelessness, hyper-normalisation, says number 3. Yeah. Kids are dying and hunger disease is never normal. No, but people don't want to talk about it. Normalising violence has just as happened since Sudan's independence. People need to look at it and believe it to be normal. It is not. No, it's not. Yeah, absolutely, says Jal. I do not watch any BBC, ITV, GB News, etc. I watch Al Jazeera and Democracy Now, says Jeannie Bottle. As I understand, I don't watch too much mainstream news either. I very rarely get around to watching it, to be fair. Sudan is almost gone for news, says Jal. Yeah, it is. Yeah, more needs to be done. Yeah, Middle East and I does try to keep up to date with what's going on in Sudan. Sometimes Al Jazeera has news on it as well, but I don't see enough from some news outlets, to be fair. Yeah, it is important, Alistair Keir. I know. World news sometimes is not as appealing as obviously the other news that I normally cover. But sometimes I think some of these stories are, we need to remember that these things are happening in the world. I know they're disheartening and can be very deflating, guys, but I do think that they are important to remind ourselves of what these things are happening, because a lot of mainstream media and even some of the media news outlets that I use just don't pay enough attention to what's going on. Guys, while you're here, if you can, hit the like button and please share across social media so others are notified of this video, guys, because that would be really appreciated if you can. Right, let's dive straight into the next one, guys. So this one is from Associated Press News. Pakistan swears in the new parliament amid chaotic scenes as Imran Khan's followers protest vote count. Pakistan has been in absolute chaos. It really has been in absolute chaos. They're in economic decline. And it seems that the Imran Khan has been kind of pushed out of the way. The way that kind of this has all been handled has not been handled well at all. No doubt that many people within the country are not happy with the situation that things are going in. And yeah, this is they're really in a bad situation here. And at the moment they're looking. At the moment of the time of this recording, I don't know if they secured a bailout from the IMF, because they are looking to secure a bailout because they are in that deep of a doo-doo for the country. But I am hoping that this new parliament and the cooperation that's here will bring at least some stability to the people of Pakistan, because that's what they desperately need right now, because it's not good whatsoever for what's happening here, guys. So Pakistan's National Assembly swore in newly elected members on parliament on Thursday in a chaotic scene as allies of imprisoned for former Prime Minister Imran Khan shouted and protested what they claimed was a rigged election. Lawmakers from Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party repeatedly chanted "Vote thief" as Shahbaz Sharif, who is expected to form the next government, entered the parliament with his brother Nazim Sharif. Both men are former premiers. The outgoing National Assembly Speaker Rafiq Pervez Assaf administration the oath to the incoming legislators at noon. Parliament will elect a new Prime Minister on Sunday, Sharif Shafar facing only one rival in the vote, one senior Omar Arab of Khan PTI. Arab, like other lawmakers backed by Khan, who was barred from running in the February 8th election, joined the Sudani Elite Council to meet a legal requirement to sit in the legislature, as PTI was barred from the ballot under its official name and its candidates had to contest the election as independents. The House echoed chants of "Long Live Shafir" when the Shafi's brothers signed the register after taking their oaths of office. Benwari Barudo Zawadi. If I mispronounce any name, guys, I do sincerely apologise. I am trying to learn these names, guys. The young chairman of the Pakistan People's Party and a key Sharif ally was met with similar chants. The new government will face challenges including a surge in militant attacks and a shortage of energy, as well as alienating economy that will force Pakistan to seek another bailout from the International Monetary Fund. Okay, so they haven't asked it yet, but I'm sure they're getting to it. Lawmakers from Khan's PDI told reporters they will continue their campaign both inside and outside Parliament to protect the rigging of the election and the vote count. Yes, the election has been rigged, insisted Ghanar Ali Khan, the current head of the PTI. The PTI has called for nationwide rallies on Saturday. The party claims its results were changed in dozens of constituencies to prevent it from winning a majority. A charge the Election Commission of Pakistan denied. The election was held against the backdrop of multiple deadly militant attacks, and the US State Department later criticised the authorities of restricting freedom of expression, association and peaceful assembly. Authorities imposed a mobile service outage on election day. The European Union has also criticised the inability of some political actors to contest the elections. Pakistan's former foreign minister has fired back at such criticism, saying the vote was held in a free, fair and transparent manner. Note that none of the foreign observers who were monitoring the election described widespread vote stealing. So I think this is a very key point here in this. When I was looking at, because I read this earlier, I did reread this before coming on, guys, and I think this is a very key point here. That foreign voters were saying that this was not a stolen election, and I think that does help in terms of their election. But obviously, having the US State Department criticise and the EU criticise is not a very good look for them, to be fair. Pakistan is a mess, a perfect storm of troubles and a lot of corruption, says Jal. There is a lot of corruption here, without a shadow of a doubt. I will come back to you guys in the chat shortly. Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League, or the PMLN, and Pakistan's People's Party's former president Asif Allah Zawahiri emerged as the largest presence in the 336-seat National Assembly or the lower house of Parliament. Under the power-sharing formula, Shalih's party will support Zaroury in next month's presidential elections. The outgoing President Alif Ali is an ally of Khan and was a senior member of the PTI before becoming president. Khan is currently serving prison terms in multiple cases and has been barred from seeking or holding office. He has been convicted on charges of corruption, revealing official secrets, and violating marriage laws in 3 separate verdicts and sentenced to concurrent prison terms of 10, 14, and 7 years. Khan claims the cases are politically motivated and engineered to keep him from returning to power, and is appealing all the convictions. If he still faces some 170 legal cases on charges ranging from corruption to inciting violence and terrorism. On Wednesday, the PTI wrote a letter to the IMF urging it to link any talks with Islamabad to an audit the February the 8th election, which the party alleges was rigged. This comes days before the IMF releases a key installment of the bailout loan to Pakistan. This is definitely one way that they can this is one way that they can show the rest of the world, hey, we really have changed a lot by allowing auditors from outside the country, those parts of the IMF, and that to show, hey, look, we are going to be doing free and fair elections. Come and have a look for yourself. I think that does help if they want to try and secure a bailout from the IMF, to say, look, we're willing to have you guys here to see it for yourselves. I think that will help them. The letter has drawn widespread criticism from Khan's rivals, including Sharif, who said that the former cricket star turned Islamic politician wanted to harm the country's economy. Under the previous term as Prime Minister, Sharif, who replaced Khan after his ousting in a no-confidence vote in Parliament in April 2022, has struggled to avoid a default on foreign payments last summer when the IMF approved a much-awaited $3 billion. April 2022, literally, that was when the Sudan war kicked off as well. It felt like April last year. Too much was going on, both here in Asia and in Africa. Sharif has said he will seek an IMF bailout at the end of March when the current one expires. Interesting to say the least. So a part of me I do have some. Obviously, there are concerns about the presidential elections coming up with the presidential elections that are going to be coming up for Pakistan. But I think there's also some optimism there in saying that there are foreign observers there when this was being done to say that, and they didn't say there were any issues. They're also saying that they're willing to have auditors there for the presidential election as well. So it is a sign. It is a sign that perhaps maybe something good could be coming down the line for Pakistan. Obviously, I'm not going to hold my breath on it, and I don't think any of us here should. But perhaps maybe something here. Obviously, we want the people of Pakistan to have free and fair elections. We do want that, but obviously, with the EU and the US obviously criticising the way it's been handled, and it has been badly handled, it does put a lot of questions have been put. But hopefully, cross fingers, things will get better there for them. I generally hope they do, guys. So just before I go to the funny video, I'm just going to quickly check the poll. Thanks everyone who's voted so far. Should the international community be doing more for Sudan? I'll be shocked if anyone says a no, but thank you everyone who's voted for so far on that. As Kier, thank you so much for the extra 2 gifted memberships. You've given an extra membership to number 3 and another one to Sanoron Man. Alistair, thank you so much for those gifted memberships. I really appreciate it, my friend. You've been very kind into the new month as well. Yeah, guys, you can be a YouTube member for as little as 99p, guys. It's 99p or $2.99 membership. But there is one there for 99p, and it really does help make a difference. Really financially supporting me on the channel, guys. If you can't financially support me, guys, the best way to do that is liking, sharing it across social media so others are notified, guys. So if you can't financially support, in all seriousness, guys, just you guys being here and supporting really does make a difference. So thank you guys for that. Right, so we've got an hour to go before we about an hour now before, roughly an hour, under an hour before Max does his live stream. Got a little funny video for you guys. I hope you enjoy this one. I haven't seen this one. I always do a Four and Arms one here, and then hopefully we'll have enough time for the funny memes. But this one is called the new Burger King slogan. I hope you guys enjoy.
Sorry to keep you waiting. The new Burger King slogan. How did you get on?
Okay, here it is. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, Burger King.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Look, unfortunately, I do have another meeting, so if we
Yeah.
can just get down to it as quick as we can.
Yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, Burger King. So,
Yes, the McDonald's jingle.
is it?
Yes. Ba-da-da-ba-ba. I'm
Burger
loving
King.
it. No.
Okay. You don't like that one?
Do you have others?
Sure. Yeah. Yes. No, I do. Burger King. It's finger licking good.
That's the KFC slogan.
No, it isn't.
Are you just taking other fast food company slogans and you just...
No.
I've got anything...
Burger King tastes so good. Cats ask for it by name.
No.
Burger King, king of beers.
No,
it's got two kings in it.
It doesn't matter. It's Budweiser.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Burger
Maybelline.
King. There's some things money can't buy. For everything else, it's
MasterCard.
Burger King. Burger King, Vorsprung durch Technik.
Obviously not.
Burger King gives you wings.
No.
Yeah, you don't sell wings, do you? But if you did, they'd be finger licking good.
No.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one for somebody else. You're just copying other people's slogans.
The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final.
It's Judge
Burger
Judy.
King. Sorry to keep harping on about this one, but you're the king of burgers. I think you should be the king of beers
How
too.
have you not come up with anything original? We gave you 6 weeks, and this is what you're coming back with.
To be honest, that's too much time. If anything, I'm better off the cuff. Do
Oh,
you know?
are you?
Yeah, I'm better as riffing. So,
Okay.
so you just say Burger King, and I'll say the first thing that comes into my head. Okay? Yeah, go ahead.
Burger King.
No one out pizzas the Hut.
Okay, this has been a complete waste of time. I don't know whose idea it was to bring you in here, but I cannot fathom what they were thinking.
Fine, have it your way. Have it your way. Burger King, have it your way. That's perfect.
That's what we use at the moment.
Is it? I thought that was McDonald's. Oh, I mean, I thought I thought I came up with that myself.
Doomda. Oh, I haven't heard that one. That was really good. That was very good. Fire and Arms, guys. Make sure you guys do check out their YouTube channel, Fire and Arms. Fantastic, really funny stuff, guys. Let me just clear them up before we go to the next one. Yeah, the link for that video, funny videos, in the description, guys. Be sure to go and check that out. Absolutely funny stuff. Reg, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Stephen Banker, good to see you both. Hope you guys are doing well. There's a poll up there if you guys want to answer that as well. Thank you guys for coming along. Right, let me just make sure. Have I got the right one on? And hopefully, I think, cross fingers, guys, the internet troubles have probably stopped, which is a good thing. Right, so this next one, guys, is from France 24. This is regarding Haiti and Kenya. I've been aware about this for a while, but I guess it's really going to start going in the way. So Haiti and Kenya have signed an agreement on police deployment to tackle gang violence. So Kenya and Haiti have signed a reciprocal agreement on Friday to deploy police from the East African country to lead a UN-backed law and order mission to the gang-plagued Caribbean nation, the Kenyan President William Ruto had said. So Haiti has been, for years and decades of such, has been in a terrible, terrible situation for a long time. It's never had any stability in that part, and where it is. Half of the island, obviously, is Haiti, and the other half is the Dominion Republic, which is a complete contrast to it. And the United States of America has gone in on many, many occasions to send its forces in to clamp down and restore order on that country. And I don't blame America for not wanting to send their troops in at this point, because they've been doing it for decades. The UN have obviously tried to do their part. Funding has been, I do believe that the US has provided funding to give to Kenya as well to help with this as well. My other understanding is that Kenya seems to have a pretty decent record on this kind of thing, which gives me a little bit of optimism. Whether or not Kenya will be actually to bring some peace into Haiti is another thing. It's just so messed up. Haiti is such a terrible state the country is in. It really, really is. I don't know how they're going to bring stability, because it really is an impossible situation for them. But something needs to be done in that country, because it's been a horrible situation for so long. I actually think that what's happened is that a wall has been built between the two countries on the island as well. I think this was about a year or two ago. The Dominion Republic were looking to built a wall to keep Haiti out, because that's how bad things were. There's never been any tension or anything between the two countries. It's just a case of they just don't want to do anything with Haiti, really. And I don't blame them really because it's like, well, they're just trying to build their own nation, and they've done a pretty good job. It's actually done quite well in terms of tourism there. But Haiti, whether this is going to make a difference, will obviously time will tell. So Ruto said he and the Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry had discussed the next steps to enable the fast tracking of deployment, but it was not immediately clear whether the agreement would counter a court ruling in January that branded the deployment illegal. Haiti's government has pleaded for international help to confront the violence that has cost thousands of lives as armed gangs take over entire swaths of the country, leaving the economic and public health system in tatters. Kenya has previously stated it was ready to provide up to 1,000 personnel, an offer welcomed by the United States and other nations that have ruled out putting its own forces on the ground. Sorry about that. But a Nairobi court said the decision was unconstitutional, in part because the two countries had not signed a reciprocal agreement on the issue. On Friday, Rocco said he and Henry had witnessed the signing of a reciprocal agreement in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Details of the document have not been made public. Well, you kind of need to make it public if you don't want any issues, really. Oh, sure, it's good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good week. I take this opportunity to reiterate Kenya's commitment to contribute to the success of multinational missions. We believe this is a historic duty because peace in Haiti is good for the world and as a whole, Ruto said in a statement. The UN Security Council has approved multinational missions in early October, but the Kenyan court ruling threw its future into doubt. Yeah, there was something about Kenya's court ruling. I remember they weren't too keen on their own forces kind of going in there as well. There was that issue as well. Opposition politician Iru Akukwa filed a petition against the deployment, told AFP on Friday that he would lodge a case for contempt of court. While it's emerging that William Ruto does not care about the rule of law or the constitution of this country, he said. We will question the validity of this secretive agreement. Yeah, that's the problem, because it's secretive as well. That doesn't help anyone. Andrew Luke, good to see you, buddy, as well. Sorry, I just caught you there as well. In the face of criticism, Ruto has described the Kenyan undertaking as a mission for humanity, in steps with its long record of contributing to peacekeeping missions abroad. Haiti, a Western Hemisphere poorest nation, has been in turmoil for years. The 2021 assassination of the President Jovenel Moise plunged the country further into chaos. The history has been much more further than that. Not just the assassination of the president, but far even further back on the history. I recommend checking out YouTuber Real Life Law and his video he done on Haiti if you guys really want to know the context and the history of Haiti and how it is ended up in the situation it is. It's fascinating, but it's also sad as well, because you see it all happening. You see it in the time of the history of the way he portrays it. No elections have taken place since 2016, and the presidency remains vacant. Thousands of protesters demanded Henry's resignation in line with a political deal that requires Haiti to hold polls for him to seize power and newly elected officials by February the 7th of this year. Well, the problem is that the country is in so much chaos. You can't. The country is so chaotic. It's not possible. It's literally not physically possible to hold any kind of free, fair elections in any way, shape, or form. And whatever you might think of the president, like, I'm sure he's not probably in any way fair or perfect in any way, shape, or form. It wouldn't surprise me if he was corrupt or dodgy. But in this situation, they need a leader right now. And if what he's proposing and what the agreement with Kenya means that it can bring some stability, then I think the protesters that, like, obviously I don't know everything about Haiti, but what I do know is that they need to bring some stability into this country is what is desperately needed right now. The Prime Minister, who's on a visit tomorrow, we told an audience of university students on Friday he aimed to have elections as soon as possible. Yeah, you can't have them in the situation that we're in. We need elections to destabilise the country, he said, but offer no specific time frame for the polls. No, because we don't know when there's going to be. He can't do that, regardless of what you might think of the president. There's no way he can give any indication because of the situation the country's been in. It's a long time this has been going on, guys. On Thursday, the Caribbean Community blog said Henry has agreed to hold elections by the 31st of August 2025 following a regional summit this week in Guyana. That's not going to be enough. Is that going to be enough time to assure stability in the country? I don't know. Hi Satu, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. In January alone, more than 1,100 people were killed, injured or kidnapped in Haiti, according to the UN. In October 2022, we asked the world to give us a helping hand. President Walter was the first one to agree to come to Haiti, and we wanted to say thank you to him, Henry said. We thank Kenya for its active solidarity. The multinational mission, initially approved for 1 year, had envisioned Kenyan police on the offensive with their Haitian counterparts who are outnumbered and outgunned by gang members. 5 countries had agreed to join Kenya's led multinational policing mission, including the Bahamas, Bangladesh, Barbados, Benin and Chad. Last year, nearly 5,000 homicides counted in Haiti, more than double in the number in 2022, according to a UN report. It's a really horrible situation, Haiti. It's a really horrible situation, guys. And you know, it's a really terrible situation. Like I said, if you guys have not heard of the YouTuber Real Life Law, I implore you to please check out the video he done on Haiti to understand just how much crap that they have gone through in decades of years. They've had some seriously bad luck, not just the corruption and whatnot, but even because where they're positioned geography wise, they've had some terrible weathers as well. Which they've never recovered from earthquakes and hurricanes and whatnot. They've still never recovered from the devastations as well. So it's a really horrible situation for them. Hopefully something good will come around on this, guys. I'm just gonna have a quick look in the chat. I don't want to take too much time. I'm just gonna, Ollie is here. Ollie's not in a good mood because of some of the stories we're covering this week, but hopefully Ollie will feel a little bit better a bit later on. But Ollie's not in a good mood. The orb and the lava lamp are there in all its glory, guys. I just wanted to get that to you guys. Just asking, there's a poll, very simple one. Everyone should be, I don't see why anyone should vote no on it, but should the international community be doing more for Sudan, guys? Let me know in the polling, the live chat. If you can cast your vote, please do. It's a very simple one, yes or no. We talked about Sudan earlier. For those who didn't see it, it's really horrible situation. Yep, not far. Yeah, hopefully we can get there before the anniversary, Jal. If we can reach 1,000 subscribers, that would be fantastic. If we can make it before then. Just going to scroll up and see what you guys are saying. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Everyone's just talking about the pizzas, the funny video we had earlier. I don't blame you guys. That's fine, guys. No worries. The USA didn't fund the UN properly. Their share for years is number 3. Yeah, that as well. That's that as well. Thanks for reminding me of that. I don't blame you guys for not talking about what's happening with Haiti. To be fair, it's pretty terrible situation. Right, we're going off to South America, guys. This one is from CNN, and the headline is Marlboro's immigration card could influence Americans' election, not just Venezuela. So Venezuela, obviously. There's elections taking place in Venezuela as well, guys. Now, I've discussed whether it's here or on Rumble about whether or not Venezuela will they hold free and fair elections. Now, if they do, it means that many sanctions that the US have on them will be lifted if they do. Then the question is Maduro going to do that? And I still have a sneaky suspicion he's probably not. Many people think that he may rig the elections as well. Is it this election, or maybe I'm getting mixed up with another country? I'm probably getting mixed up with another country, but what's happening with obviously with Guyana, the tension that he's been stoking is not. Yeah, they've had their election, haven't they? And I'm going absolutely bonkers. There've been so many elections, guys. I'm trying to keep up. But I'm not sure how Venezuela. Oh, I guess the immigration problem is something as well. Didn't really think of that. But Venezuela, I've talked about this before about how this country, with its vast resources, really should be in a better position. But the South American country has just got so many problems. But let's read into this. This is an analysis piece by CNN, so let's have a read into it, guys. So Venezuela's voters are supposed to go to the polls. They're supposed to have an election this year. I don't know why I got it mixed up. You should do a geopolitical show with Bowler Hat Man. I would love to do a geopolitical show. I should speak to Graham and Bowler Hat Man about being a part of that one time. The problem is though they do it I think they do it on a Tuesday night. I think it is. That's the only problem though. That's the only problem with it. Venezuela's voters are supposed to go to the polls to choose a president this year, but they don't know when the election will be held, or even if it will be held. Voters don't know who the candidates will be either, other than the incumbent, the socialist president Nicolas Maduro, who has made it abundantly clear that he wants to stay in power for a third consecutive term. In many respects, this election year is beginning to look as chaotic as 2018, when the ruling Socialist United Party of Venezuela, the PSUV, pulled the event forward from the traditional month of December to April of that year, and then changed it again to May. But the difference to 2018 is that what happened in the South American country presidential election this year may have an impact on other presidential elections happening thousands of miles away. Less than 4 months ago, Venezuela made an agreement with the United States to hold free and fair elections, a move aimed at thwarting relations between the two countries. The agreement was crucial for US President Joe Biden because Venezuelan cooperation is needed to help control illegal immigration, which is shaping up as a key issue in the 2024 US election. The problem for Biden is that deal seems irreplaceably broken. I also think, that they should, I'm sure that if they wanted to, if President Biden wanted to, he could negotiate to, because they have facilities to make process the oil they have as to process the oil that Venezuela has as well. So there were things on that as well, if I recall as well. Yeah, but because of the way the country's being run, it's difficult for that. But yeah, the immigration factor, I really have missed a blind spot there. Guaido, the 61-year-old former bus driver who was appointed by the presidency by Hugo Chavez to succeed him when the late strongman realised he was terminally ill, has been in power since 2013 and appears in no mood to give it up. More than 10 years as a president. I think, if I'm honest, I think the Venezuelan people probably would like someone different after 10 years. 10 years is a long time. In public, Maduro has insisted elections will be held this year. Well, then call them. Rain, thunder or lightning this year will go to the elections number 31. There will be presidential elections in Venezuela, he told the PSUV supporters at a rally recently. And I know it. I see it. Once again, rain, thunder or lightning, the people will triumph again. The Bolivian people, the Chasvifla people, let's get united. Call the election then. What are you waiting for? But his regime seems to be doing everything possible to delay the election and disqualify the opposition from using the long and powerful arms of the state it absolutely controls. Venezuela's Supreme Tribunal of Justice, the highest court in the land, stacked with government loyalists, recently barred Marina Contella Machico, the main opposition candidate, from running for president. The court's decision based on alleged financial irregularities when Machico was a member of the National Assembly also bars her from running from any office in Venezuela for 15 years. I covered the story about this. I think it was on Rumble. I covered the story about this as well, about how she'd been denied the chance to run. In an interview with CNN, Machico denied the accusations and said she and her campaign had been targeted for years. Her party, Venezuela, said recently 3 of its campaign directors had been detained by the government. Machico said the regime had barred Venezuelan media from interviewing her or reporting about her. Yeah, how is this free and fair elections if you're not even going to let it? You can tell there's blatant corruption. There's blatant corruption, black and white. She also said government loyalists have not only intimidated campaign workers but also gone after people who provide them with any services, including owners of audio equipment for rallies and car rental companies, hotel operators, and even commercial airlines. Everyone who's had any association with her or her campaign is targeted. Since they don't have any votes, they stay in power through guns, judicial ruling, and persecution. That's all Maduro has left. Maduro is a repressive candidate, and he wants to do this by force and blows. They're playing a dirty game, Machuco said, vowing to stay in the race. The threats against us are brutal, and these fellas have no qualms, but they will not derail our plans, Machuco said. I'm worried that she's probably going to get thrown in jail for something. They'll make something up and then they'll throw her in jail. Just like what Putin's been doing with his opponents. Maduro has defended the court's ruling against Machuco, suggesting that he went against US pressure and showed that nobody is above the law. Despite threats and blackmail of the US empire, Venezuela's institutions have worked, he said when welcoming the ruling in January 29 in Caracas. The opposition has seen this movie before. Leopoldo Lopez, who challenged Maduro's power during the last decade, was arrested in 2014 following weeks of social unrest and sentenced to nearly 14 years in prison the following year on charges of inciting anti-government protests. He spent 5 years behind bars and several months under house arrest before fleeing to Madrid, Spain in 2020. Yeah. There's no democracy here. There's none. Biden should crank up the pressure. He really should. A strong president will stand up to this. Brian Winter, the editor-in-chief of America's Quarterly magazine, said if there's a presidential election this year in Venezuela, there's almost zero chance it would be free and fair. Now, are America going to do something to make sure of that? Don't think so. Maduro is looking to conduct an election that appears just fair enough to improve his international image without risking his greatest nightmare, which would be to lose power, and that's why he's wavering on the date and trying to bend the opposition main candidate, Winter said. By banning Maduro from running for office, Venezuela is violating an agreement the regime made with the United States in October. The Biden administration lifted general economic sanctions targeting Venezuela's mining and oil industries in support of an agreement struck in Barbados between Maduro and the opposition to hold free and fair elections in 2024. Banning Maduro from running for president amounts to a reproduction of the agreement. Both the opposition and the United States have claimed. The US State Department swiftly moved to reimpose sanctions on Venezuela, but so far has done only so good on its gold sector. In response to anti-democratic actions by Maduro representatives, the United States have revoked sanctions relief for Venezuela's gold sector. The relief for Venezuela's oil and gas sectors will be renewed in April, only if Maduro's representatives follow through on their commitments, which they won't. US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said on Twitter. But Maduro and his allies know that they have Biden between a rock and a hard place when it comes to any further action, especially given there will be a presidential election in the United States, and intimidation is once again a wedge issue. During the fiscal year 2023, Venezuelans, 226,000, account for more migrant encounters at the US-Mexico border than any other nationality bar Mexicans. 707. Whoa, more than 500,000 of Mexicans. That's amazing. That's quite a lot. Jeez. Venezuela has recently been cooperating with the United States to reduce illegal migration by allowing removal flights. Maduro knows that's one of the at least two cards the other is oil he has in his favour when it comes to negotiating with the US over further sanctions. The problem for the Biden administration is that if it's going to be going easy on Maduro regarding further sanctions, it could be open to the criticism of being weak or more interested in Venezuela's oil than its Venezuelan democracy, said Winters of American Quarterly. But if it gets tough, Maduro can play hardball in immigration. I think he should be stronger, Biden, but he's more concerned about his own issues and what's happening with his own country rather than anything. Venezuela is not free. In the last 10 years, 400,000 Portuguese and Portuguese descending immigrants left the country, more than half over to Portugal and others to the US and the EU, says Joe. My rants take me to strange places, says Joe. Chavez began the sinking of the country. Maduro continued it. Yeah, it has continued it. Maduro at some point hold part of Biden's re-election chances in his hands. I don't want to overestimate that, but it's real, and there's a chance that if Biden administration pushes hard on the sanction questions, Maduro will cease all cooperation in a way that could damage Biden's chances of getting released, Winter said. Yeah, the immigration, the more I read into it, the more it does make sense, the immigration point. Because they have introduced tougher sanctions at the Mexican border, didn't they? And Republicans turned it down, didn't they? Because Trump told them not to. They had a massive, really tough border bill. The Democrats had something that the Republicans wanted, and they turned it down simply because Trump didn't want Republicans cooperating with Democrats. I remember that. According to Winter, this will explain why the State Department decided to revoke sanctions only in Venezuela's gold sector and not oil and gas. It's not just Venezuela's democracy that's at stake here. They don't have any democracy. It's also immigration and oil during an election year in the US. The Morales dictatorship has time and has again found themselves in a clever negotiators, aware of the leverage that they hold, Winter said. Yeah, well, they know the situation that they're in. They know that. They know that they can play a bit of muscle, can't they? So that is for sure. I'm going to end the polling after the next one, guys, because we've got just under half an hour. Should the international community be doing more to Sudan, yes or no? At the point there were so many returnees in Maduro and Ireland, the services were overwhelmed and had to relocate to the mainland, says Joe. Sorry if I'm not keeping up too much with you guys in the chat today, just because I'm just conscious of time. But because I do want to try and get the funny memes in. But thank you guys for being here, really greatly appreciate it. I hope you're finding it at least informative. Are you finding it informative, at least, Ollie? Ollie's not in a talking mood again. He's not happy. He's not in a talking mood. Well, Alexei Navalny, guys, did have, I believe it was today, the funeral. This is from Euronews. Let me just check this is the right, it's on the right one. Navalny laid to rest in Moscow ceremony as hundreds gather. So, yeah, not too much really to add to this story, obviously, but Alexei Navalny having his ceremony. So Alexei Navalny's allies said that his coffin was lowered into the ground on Friday after a funeral attended by hundreds of supporters. The coffin carried remains of a Russian opposition leader. Alexei Navalny was lowered into the ground on a Moscow ceremony on Friday, his allies said. Relatives and supporters of the late opposition figure bade farewell to Navalny at a funeral on Friday in southeastern Moscow following a battle with authorities over the release of his body after his still unexplained death in the Arctic penal colony. As his coffin was removed from the hearse and taken inside the church, the crowd waited outside, broke into respectful applause and then chanted Navalny, Navalny. Some also shouted, "You weren't afraid," and neither are we, and later, "No to war." Photos from inside the church shows an open casket and Navalny's body covered with red and white flowers, and his mother sitting beside it holding a candle. His supporters said several churches in Moscow refused to hold services before Navalny's team got permission from one of the capital's Murato's district where he once lived before his 2020 poisoning, treatment in Germany and subsequent arrest on his return to Russia. His mother, Luminia Navalny, spent 8 days trying to get authorities to release the body following his February 16th death at penal colony number 3 in the town of Karp in the Muromets region, about 1,900 kilometers northeast of Moscow. Authorities originally said they couldn't turn over the body because they needed to conduct post-mortem tests. We already know what the post-mortem tests are. We just can't say it, can we? It's because of the poisoning was killing him. The original poison was killing him, and we know that. Now, VDR 69 made to President Vladimir Putin to release the body so she could bury her son with dignity. Once it was released, at least one funeral director said he had been forbidden to work with Navalny's supporters. Spokeswoman for Navalny's team, Kira Yashka, said on social media they were unable to find a hearse for the funeral. So many people are afraid to associate themselves with this because if they do, they could find themselves disappearing basically by Russian authorities. That's the problem. It's very scary for you know, people. I'm pretty sure most of these services and that want to be there and pay their respects and you know, see him off properly, but they can't because they're so scared of Putin. They're so scared of him because he's made so many people disappear. Unknown people are calling up people and threatening them not to take Alexei's body anyway, Yamish said on Thursday. Russian authorities haven't announced the cause of death for Navalny, 47, who crusade against official corruption and organised in big protests as Putin's fiercest political foe. Many Western leaders blamed the death on the Russian leader, in which the Kremlin rejected. Of course they would. Western diplomats, including US Ambassador Lynn Tracy, were among those who attended. Wow, the US Ambassador attended. Along with presidential hopeful Boris Nazgin. Yeah, Boris Nazgin has been... he's one that's trying to... apparently there's issues with him getting on a ballot for the Russian election, which is a bit frustrating. Yavika Doskova, Navalny's father, was also present, but it wasn't clear who else in his family attended, with many of his relatives and associates in exile abroad due to fear of prosecution in Russia. Navalny's Foundation for Fighting Corruption and his regional office were designated as extremist organizations by the Russian government in 2021. The politicians' team said the funeral would have been streamlined on Navalny's YouTube channel. His widow accused Putin and Moscow's mayor Sergei Slogan of trying to block a public funeral. We don't want any special treatment, just to give people the opportunity to say farewell to Alexei in a normal way, Yavika wrote on X. In a speech to European lawmakers on Wednesday in Strasbourg, France, she also expressed fears that police might interfere with the gathering or would arrest those who come to say goodbye to my husband. Yeah. Very difficult, very difficult. I'm quite surprised that the US ambassador went to the funeral. Interesting, because to say the least. And yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible that Russia in the state that it's in. But may at least he rest in peace, and hopefully him as a martyr may give some kind of hope to people in Russia. He was weakened and he hit it too hard, they seem, says Zhao. I'm looking for a job. I just wanted to at least always wake up in the morning in case I get a morning job. Not a remote job or flexible working hours. I hope you find a job soon. I'm still looking for one myself, Satu. NLP helped me sleep after years of difficulty. Real sad. They were holding on to the body to hide the apparent cause of death, beating too much. I think if it was beating, they probably would have seen the bruises on the body. If I'm honest, I think so. But maybe I'm jumping a bit to conclusions. I could be wrong. The Portuguese in Venezuela formed the backbone of the business community, especially supermarkets, banks, insurances, and some in the army. Now at least 60% left, and the others won't stay, says Zhao. Thanks for that. I wasn't aware of that. At the point there were so many returnees in Maduro, the islands and services were overwhelmed and had to relocate people to the mainlands. Thanks for that. Interesting. Hi Jude, good to see you, buddy. The international community and its various bodies are doing way too little. Yeah, they are doing way too little. We covered Sudan earlier, and yeah, it wasn't nice to talk about. So guys, we're going to be wrapping things up with Ukraine and the deep state map. So this is from the Kiev Independent. We've still got about, I should have enough time to cover this and the deep state map, as well as funny memes before we switch over to Max's live stream, which is good, guys. So this is from the Kiev Independent. Ukraine aims to produce 15 billion cubic meters of gas in 2024. The Ukraine state-owned oil and gas giant Nasgogov aims to produce 15 billion cubic meters of natural gas in 2024, the Prime Minister Dane Shmyhal said at a meeting of cabinet ministers on March the 1st. He said that the increase in domestic natural gas production is one of the key objectives of the Ukraine energy strategy in 2024. Ukraine got through the winter using only domestic gas production for the first time in history in 2023-2024. Nefos Gas CEO Oskli said on March the 1st. According to Cheryshev, Ukraine had 16 billion cubic meters of gas in reserve in October, which helped to pass the winter without importing. On the first day of spring, it's important to say that the energy system remains stable. There is no restrictions applied to consumers, he has said. According to Shmyhal, Neurogas launched 86 new wells in 2023. Ukraine currently has more than 8.5 billion cubic meters of its underground storage facilities, according to Shmyhal. More than 1 million tons of coal has also been stored, he added. We must complete the heated season with confidence, and we will begin preparation for the next winter immediately, Shmyhal said. Neurogas earlier reported that its production branch, I cannot say that word, had increased the daily production rate of domestic natural gas by 11% in 2023. This figure has been the biggest since April 2019. It's also hit a record of daily gas production for the first time ever in the past 5 years. The company reached 38.54 million cubic meters of commercial gas produced per day. So they obviously got plenty of domestic energy, which is probably another reason why for Vladimir Putin to want Russia as well. Let me just have a look to see if there's any other what's going on here on the left hand side. In terms of, I'm just gonna refresh the page to see if we have anything new here. We do have a new story that's dropped. Russian attack hits Maduro Oblast causes a fire. Russian forces struck an unnamed location in Miratov Oblast late today, causing a fire. The governor of Vali Kim had reported. Miratov Oblast in southern Ukraine is regularly targeted by Russian strikes due to its proximity to the front line. First responders are working on the scene, Kim said on Telegram, without providing any further details. No casualties have been reported so far. Explosion was heard in the city of Miratov at around 8 p.m. local time. Swedish media outlet wrote earlier. Let's just come through. This other one here. Switzerland joins the EU in expanding sanctions against Russia. Switzerland has expanded its sanctions against Russia in line with European Union's 13th package of sanctions, the Swiss government announced today. The EU adopted its latest package of sanctions against Russia on February the 23rd, targeting an additional 106 individuals and 88 entities involved in Russian aggression against Ukraine. The list includes companies from India, Sri Lanka, China, Serbia, Kazakhstan, Thailand and Turkey. The EU also subjugated 27 entities to tighten export restrictions on dual-use goods and technologies that might contribute to the technological development of Russia's military sector, and imposed export restrictions on components used to develop and produce drones. Switzerland followed suit on February 29, adding all the individual and companies featured in the EU sanctions package to its own sanction list, and the governments wrote in a press release. That's good to see that that they are contributing to trying to hold them down for as much as they possibly can. Thanks everybody for casting their votes. We've got just going to be looking at deep state and the funny memes before we wrap things up, asking should the international community be doing more for Sudan. Unanimous yes. 14 people voted, no one voted no. Thank you guys for that. Phil McCracken, good to see you buddy, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in, much appreciated. So guys, let's have a quick look at the deep state map before we wrap up with the funny memes. The latest update here is on the 29th of the 2nd at 21:59. This is the latest one, unless there's going to be will there be let me just check. I'm still trying to get my head around it. Yep, this is the latest one. Let's have a quick looky, see what's happening, guys. They've pushed, it looks like they've pushed quite a bit from here. Yeah, in the last couple of days, you can see that they're still pushing here. Ukraine can't seem to slow things down there, but I think that's the main gains that they are making. Oh, they may be making gains here. Let's have a look. Doesn't seem to be. Okay, so they seem to have made some ground up north here from the last couple of days, but that looks about it. It looks like they're trying to push some offensive here towards Halavika, but it doesn't seem to be too much there. Noskorikovich here, they seem to have not taken that there. There's been some movement here as well, but doesn't look as well according to the deep state map. Let's pull it back to the latest date. No, seem to be no movement. I don't think any movement's been made here down on the south. Has there been much gain? Let's have a look here in Buckmont. Let's pull it back a little bit. So there appears to be a tiny bit of movement, but not a lot. But they are trying to make pushes here in this position here. Russian forces here. Has there been any other here? Let's just pull out a little bit to see if there's been any pushes here. Doesn't look like there's been much action here as well. So they have made some small gains, Russia have, but that is the current state at the moment for the deep state map. For those. The link for it is in the description if you ever want to have a look at it yourselves, guys. It's yeah, they're struggling. They desperately need weapons, and I mean desperately need that package from America. It's definitely a problem for them. That is for sure. Right, so just before I go to the funny memes, Ollie is still not happy. I don't know why Ollie's not happy. We've had a good show so far. The lava lamp is very hot, and the orb is there in all its glory. Right, time for the funny memes, guys. For those who don't know, I normally do funny memes at the end of this live stream, so I hope you guys enjoy these ones. I'm going to drink some water, and I will come to you guys in the chat just before we end, so because we've got about 15 minutes before Max goes live. I got 5 funny memes for you guys today, so I hope you guys enjoy them. Here we go. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, ruined it. How my kids smile for a $200 package of school pictures. Mums waking up their sons. Dads waking up their son. At this point, I've accepted that being tired is just a part of my personality now. I thought you'd quit drinking. Nah. Put your plate in that sink. It's not a plate, it's a bowl. This is a great one. That's one of my favourite one. The kid's right. It's not a sink, it's a bowl, because you have a bowl in the sink. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I know, I'm terrible. Right, let me just quickly come to you guys in the chat before we wrap things up. Just going to scroll up a little bit, see what you guys are saying. Judging by the ache in my legs, I'm going to need a very hot bath, says Duke. Sleep problems can be helped with Melodine, but it's only short-term fix. Treat the underlying problem first. Set a strict sleep schedule. Yeah, you need to look after your sleep, Satu. Hopefully, you'll get sorted soon. Since I remember myself, I'm hyperactive, one of those annoying people that sleeps little and is always on. I'm glad I'm the quiet type, or I probably have been shot, says Jao. Just scroll up. So the international community and its various bodies are doing way too little, says Duke. Talking about sleeping between Jao and that's fine, no problem. Like with any drug, it stops using the problem. Meanwhile, American Republicans give us what they want, or a Ukrainian gets it. Yeah. Right, guys, so thanks so much for coming along. Thank you all for popping by. Greatly appreciate it. I really do. Thank you, Alistair Keir, for the gifted memberships today. Really appreciate it. Right off the start of March. Motivational March, as I like to, as I'm thinking of this month. So obviously I'll see you guys within 10 minutes or so within Max's live stream. So if you guys are not going to join us in Max's live stream, I will see you guys back on Monday with a Snowflakes viewpoint. I do have some content I've scheduled dropping over the weekend for you guys. I'm going to be away with some family for the weekend, so I won't be around, but I will chase up comments on my videos, if not today or tomorrow, just for reference as well. I am going to do Prime Minister's questions. I'm not going to be doing every Prime Minister's question, but I will do this once, considering most people said they want me to cover Prime Minister's questions, so I will do this Wednesday's one, but I don't know if it's not going to be something I'm going to do all the time. It just depends on what my plan and schedule and whatnot is, as well, just for reference, guys. So thanks everyone for coming along. Greatly appreciate it. Take care as always. Have a great weekend, whatever you guys are planning to do. Look after yourselves as always. Your health and well-being is very important. But just before you guys go, if you can, hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I upload another video, and subscribe. Help me get to that 1,000 subscriber mark before our anniversary live stream coming up. I've already got some really good stuff for that show, guys, already. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.